My name is Thomas Bollmer. I'm head of the Youth Protection Unit of the Federal Swiss Government. Thank you very much for inviting me to come here as a non-EU member. We as Switzerland are also not part of the Youth Safety Network, but as I could see today and yesterday, we do very similar things. We also profit from an invitation of the EU to do two study visits in 2010. We visited ClickSafe in Germany and Safer Internet in Austria and had a lot of inspiration from them. So thank you for that. Well, what's the topic of today? It's our national strategy for youth protection and media literacy. As you might know, we work in Switzerland in 3 official languages, German, French, and Italian, and therefore all the information is available in those 3 languages. I might not have you for Poland, but maybe the international guests have some use for it. Well, we are busy with this topic since 2008. And also our national parliament kept busy with the topic of safer internet. And I just want to give you some impressions what were the interventions back then until today. We had 2007 an initiative in the parliament for a relative ban of violent computer games. So a strict law on a national level. We had then 2009 resolution for an absolute ban of violent computer games. We had 2009 initiatives on the topic, how do we deal with the growing internet use and the growing use of games, how to deal with excessive use of games. We had 2010 a motion that all internet sites should be certificated or classified. And we had 2011 a motion from the Parliament that internet providers in Switzerland should filter violence and pornography. Well, we as a government had to say, well, very good ideas there, but that's very hard to put that in practice. We had some first conclusions, or I want to show you the side of the media use. We have since 2010 a regular study on how the young people use media in Switzerland. As today, almost all of the young people have access to the internet, so they are almost by 100%. We had a huge development between 2010 and 2012. You see there, 2010, the number of smartphones used by young people were by 20%, 2 years later by 79%. And you can imagine what this means. Internet use is mobile and without supervision of adults. We then have this average time of internet use is during the week at 2 hours, at the weekend at 3 hours.
So that's the time young people are online in Switzerland. They say online communication, use of social media is very important for them, so a significant amount of the time is used for online communication. Well, having that in mind, our first conclusions were, of course we want to, as a government, we look at the effects of media use, and especially of harmful media use. Is there a case to justify regulation? So we asked ourselves, what effects do violent computer games have? Where should we draw the line between normal use of the internet and excessive use? Is 2 hours a day excessive use, or is it normal? Maybe it was 10 years away seen as excessive. Today it is seen as normal, so standards and norms are developing, and it's very hard to come to a conclusion at those kind of questions. And we, of course, have to deal with those new challenges. Cyberbullying, grooming, at the moment one of the topics in Switzerland this year, sexting. So sending erotic material to other peers. And there are certain tools, you might know the app Snapchat available, and people ask, well, should we intervene? Should we do something against those kind of issues? Well, we as a government had to say, at the moment, the most important thing is not to regulate, because internet is not a national problem, it's an international problem. So our strategic focus needs to be on the time being on the media competences. So that was the start of our program. But similar to Germany, but on a much smaller scale, we are a very federal state. That means that we have an awful lot of players who are active in this field. If we start with the official authorities, the national authorities are responsible for regulation of radio, television and internet. The regional authorities are responsible for the regulation of film and entertainment. And we have 26 different regional authorities, and many of them have their own system. They all do, in some terms, awareness raising. We on a national level finance the helpline, and we also have a hotline on a national level. Then we have the industry. We have several systems of self-regulation in place. They also do awareness raising. And then, as in many other countries, we have the whole non-profit sector. A lot of associations, a lot of universities, voluntary organizations, police forces, they all are active in different fields. So, and this is a simple picture to show this, but the more player you have, the more messy it gets. And it was said, well, we need somebody who is starting to coordinate the whole thing. So that was one of the ambitions of this national program, which started in 2011 and is running for a pilot phase until the end of 2015. At the moment, which might be an awkward role, the government itself is exercising this program. We then have to decide how we will continue that. So exchange and coordination of all the important stakeholders involved was seen as a very important goal. We also wanted to know, well, what is existing in terms of material offers for competence building and for training. We wanted to build up a national portal which summarizes all the information that is available and is also kind of a reliable information base. Of course, quality assurance and research is an important factor, the promotion of innovative methods as digital media is developing. Our training offers has to develop alongside that. But we also had the rule to monitor the media use and developments and to adjust on the regulation side. Another question is, the government said, well, we don't want to finance that alone. We do want the industry to be involved, and we want to hold them responsible and accountable for helping to support this kind of measures. Now, for us as a small country, it is rather difficult to get very big international companies involved and convinced that they should finance measures in Switzerland. But we have a very big telecommunication provider, Swisscom, who was willing to jump in. And you might remember the first slide with the computer ban, PEGI, or the Swiss branch, the Interactive Entertainment Association, which are the computer dealers and the game producers. They also say they want to be part of that. I mean, it's clear they are under pressure and they want to support it. We are also lucky that we have a very big private foundation in Switzerland, the Jacobs Foundation, which is a member and partner of this program. Now, going to the content, how to reach the target group. Young people, of course, children, but also the adults who are responsible for them on a daily case. Parents, teachers, youth workers, and other people who are occupied with young people. Now, we said we are, as a national body, are much too far away from the reality of young people. So it's not our goal to do awareness raising with young people directly. To a certain extent, we might reach parents and teachers, but that's also not our first goal. Our first goal is to work with the many multipliers and experts in the fields who have much more direct links to the parents, to the teachers, and to the young children and young people. We then started what we said before. Well, first with an overview of what is existing, who is active in the field, and we discovered that we have around 200 different providers which already offer around 600 different offers, like training measures, brochures, etc., etc. This all is available on an online platform, can be searched. It is also divided of the different regions, but that was also the reason why we said, well, those 600 offers, they are not all of them are up to date. They are not all of them are on the latest information. We need some information who is able to provide that kind of things. Now going back to the multipliers and experts, what kind of support do they need? And that was not our ideas, but that was what they said to us. They said, we need kind of a scheme on a national level which is called Train the Trainer. So let's say we have around 100, 200 trainers who go on a daily basis into schools to training offers for parents, for teachers. And we want to make sure that they know some quality standards, that they have some quality criteria, that they work on the same messages, on the same up-to-date information. They also said, we don't want to produce material ourselves. I mean, there's no sense that 200 providers, they all come up with their own brochure. That's also confusing for the people, for the users. So we said, okay, we take on that responsibility, and we started to producing brochures on a national level, which is now provided on a very large scale. Now, the next very big challenge is how are we making sure that everybody uses the same messages? And that was a long process of discussions with those different peoples involved. But we also said, okay, we want to set a standard on a national level. And there again, we tried to come up with 10 golden rules. So what are the 10 basic rules for safer internet use for children? And what are the 10 most important rules parents should have in mind when they are at home with their children using the internet and making sure they are safe, but also making sure the internet is used? How to promote innovation? That's another important thing. You need to stimulate new activities, new innovative methods. One of the most important things we discovered in the last 2 years, also working with researchers, they told us, well, get away from the idea that when your child is 10, 12 years, it's not anymore the parents or the teachers who make sure they use internet safe, but it's their peers, it's the peer group. They are the most influential source and instance when young people get older. Now, we first did a very profound study on that. What do we know about peer involvement, which is kind of the umbrella term, and what can be divided on different possibilities to take that into place? We said what we want to do is peer tutoring and peer education. And both things are, you have to be very careful when you want to do it correctly, that you use the terms also very carefully. Peer tutoring, we can describe that young people teach other young people in the form of a lesson given to a class. That's the most traditional form. And we heard yesterday the presentation from InSafe where it was said, well, many young people are trained in the whole of Europe. And I guess they often do peer tutoring. So instead of a teacher, a younger person who is more closer to the peers is giving his or her messages. More difficult is the term peer education, because peer education means that's what's happening when peers are hanging out together in their leisure times, in the youth club and so on. It's a very informal setting, it's an informal group, and you can't steer from the outside who's the peer leader in the group. That's a natural process. Still, we want to try, is it possible to influence the processes in a positive way? you have to be very careful because it's very easy to being manipulative, and that should be something that should be not done. What we are doing at the moment, we are carrying out 7 pilot projects in the whole of Switzerland with different methods. Some work with radio, other with film, other with theater groups, other works in the classroom, other in the leisure centers. So it covers the whole of Switzerland, all the 3 language regions, and that is also the project where the Jacobs Foundation is involved and is financing those measures. We have parallel to the implementation of those projects, they work together, network, exchange information. We have an external evaluation which will work alongside those projects in order to be able to draw some reliable conclusions at the end of 2014. Is peer tutoring or peer education a method which should be implemented on a national level, on a widespread level? So that is very interesting for us. We are very interested to follow that. I'm not able yet to say what are the results of that. Maybe you need to invite me back the next year, then I could say more. But I think this is some of the groundbreaking work we want to carry out at the moment in Switzerland. Last but not least, we are happy that we could also at least to give a little bit back from all the nice input we got from Europe. We produced the Italian version of Wo ist Klaus, Dove Gianni, and that's available on our website. You can find information in the 3 languages under the links you see there. So thank you very much and have a good day.